Welcome, my friend. Happy Thanksgiving. And even though I'm Canadian and we already celebrated ours over a month ago, I thought it would be very on brand to talk about gratitude today. When we go around the table to talk about what we're grateful for, I find that people often mention the big things: family, stability, love, and these are beautiful things to be grateful for. But I thought today maybe we would look at the other side of the spectrum and talk about the absolute smallest unit of gratitude we can possibly find. Because big gratitude is easy to talk about on days where you already feel good. But not every day is like that. So, I'm going to teach you a technique to help you choose gratitude, even on days where that feels very difficult. And it comes in 3 simple steps. And for step 1, we are going to completely throw out the idea of gratitude. Get it out of here. Go on. And we are going to come up with a statement that is neutral but generally good, that applies to us right now. Something that you can't argue with. It's just the truth. Such as, my spine is supporting me right now. The device that I'm watching this video on is currently working. Someone smiled at me today. So, choose one of these neutral but good statements that applies to you for right now. And I'd like you to say it out loud. Take a deep breath. And I'd like you to say it again. Take another deep breath in and out. And this time I'd like you just to notice how you feel. You're not trying to feel a certain way, just noticing what already is. Take one last deep breath in and out. And say your statement one final time. Perfect. If just that step already felt enough for you, amazing. I'm so proud of you for having the courage to try. You can stop here for today. And for everyone else, we're going to move on to step 2, which is adding a tiny bit of preference or delight. So, we're going to choose a new statement, something like, I like the shade of green in this painting. This fabric feels nice to my fingers. I enjoy the bird song I can hear outside. So, choose yourself a new statement with a slight amount of preference or delight and say it out loud. Take a deep breath. And say it again. another deep breath and notice how you feel. Again, we're not trying to make something happen, just noticing what already is. And another deep breath. And say your statement one last time. Beautiful. And now we're moving on to the third and final step, which is expanding to something bigger. But this bigger is completely relative to you. So maybe you do feel inspired by this big emotion of gratitude. Or maybe it's just a tad deeper than the last step. Whatever bigger means to you right now. So you could choose something like, my pet is in the room right now. Their presence brings me joy and I enjoy the softness of their fur. I think the way the sunlight is coming into the room right now is beautiful. Or I am grateful for myself. Choose a bigger statement, whatever that means to you right now. Take a deep breath. And say it out loud. Take another deep breath. And say it again. Take a deep breath. And notice how you feel. Take one last deep breath. And say your words one final time. And that's it. The whole technique. 3 simple steps that won't magically change your mood, but can help shift its direction. So I also wanted to share something with you guys today, because the day that I sat down to write the script for this video, I had had a great week before, a lot of creative momentum. And I woke up on the day that I had planned to write this Thanksgiving inspired video about gratitude, and I felt so apathetic. And I did yoga, I tried meditating, I tried a few personal gratitude practices, and I just couldn't shake this headspace of apathy. And I thought, how am I going to be able to write anything meaningful on gratitude when I can't seem to be able to find any for myself? And that got me musing, because I was thinking about how in some ways when we already have a loud emotion, it can be easier to shift that into a different loud emotion. So let's say you had a particularly bad day at work. You come home feeling a big anger or sadness, and you go into the freezer and you rip open a pint of Ben & Jerry's, and there is suddenly so much gratitude for this treat that is nostalgic and comforting and brings you so much joy right now. But the days that we feel apathetic or empty, it can feel impossible to find gratitude on those days. How does one create something from nothing? And so I tried it first, so you didn't have to. I sat down the day that I was writing this script, and I very quickly hit a wall. And I had already tried every practice in my arsenal, and so I thought, can I go even simpler? So I sat with a couple statements that were neutral but true, and it gave me a spark. Not a lot, but a spark, enough to get going. And after a little bit of writing, I again hit a wall, but I was feeling a bit better, so I sat with a couple statements that had a little bit of preference, a little bit of delight, and that made me feel a little bit better. And then by the end of writing this script, which was about writing this script, it was all a bit inception-y, I don't know. By the end of writing this script, I felt so excited about what I was making. And so, gratitude isn't a mood, it's a muscle. And so, thanks for putting in some reps with me today. For those of you who are celebrating Thanksgiving this weekend, I hope you have a lovely, lovely meal, and I hope that one relative is on their best behavior. But no matter where you're at, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Namaste.